Hi guys, I'm Andy and welcome back to Backpacking UK. If hiking, backpacking and wild camping are your thing, please hit that subscribe button because that's what this channel's all about. Right, today I'll be sharing with you my camping hints and tips, specifically about sleeping. Now, if you're anyone like me, I've always struggled to sleep. It doesn't matter what I've done, I've always struggled. But over the years, I've come up with all these little solutions to give me the best possible night's sleep. So if you follow the contents of this video, I guarantee it will transform your sleep whilst camping. Now, some of these hints and tips are quite obvious, but some are really not. So definitely stay to the end, use them all next time you go camping, and fill that comments box and let me know how you get on. So first up, I've got some earplugs. Definitely take earplugs. They cost pennies. I mean, you can buy 20 packs of these for £3.50 off on Amazon. Just put the link in the description. These specific ones, they're really nice and soft. So when you've got your head on that pillow, you don't get any earache. These are really good. I've been using these for years. Next up, I've got an eye mask. Again, you can buy an eye mask for a couple of quid, but unless you've got a blackout tent, you really need one of these. Most people go camping in the summer and there's nothing worse than waking up really early in the morning. So wear an eye mask and you'll be almost guaranteed to sleep that little bit longer. Next up, I see this happening all the time. You've got tent pegs, you've got guy rope. So many people, especially with freestanding tents, will do the bare minimum when they're setting up tents. And it's okay, you know, if it's nice and calm and mild, but so many times you'll get a wind come in during the night, your tent's flapping about, it'll wake you up, and then you'll have a nightmare getting back to sleep again. So if your tent comes with additional pegs and guy rope, use them. Next up is sleeping mat. Now, I personally hate the traditional roll mats. They're really not very good, they're not very comfy, and there's no insulation there, and you're right down on that floor. So this is a blow-up sleeping mat. Best thing about these ones is they're reasonably cheap and they're super light and they're really comfy. And this one I think is a 50mm sleeping mat, but definitely get one of these. If you've got a traditional roll mat, it will transform your night's sleep. Next up, if you're camping when it's a little bit cooler, you should really think about getting an insulated sleeping mat. Something like this. This has got synthetic insulation in there. It's got an R value, and basically it just keeps you warm during the night. Now, you really do feel the difference with these, but there's one thing I must say with these: can be a little bit noisy. So in summer, don't use one of these, use a cheap blow-up mat, and that will just stop you being woken up during the night. My next camping hints and tips is to use the right season sleeping bag in the right season. It sounds so obvious, but so many people don't. This is a 2-season sleeping bag. Now, this is only good when the temperature is at least 10 degrees. Anything under 10 degrees and you'll be freezing cold. Likewise, on a really hot day, you don't need a sleeping bag. You're gonna absolutely boil, you know, when you've got those really hot August nights. You just want even like a sleeping bag liner or just a sheet or something like that. And on the other end of the scale, you really need a 4-season sleeping bag if you're going to be camping in the winter. And when I mean a 4-season sleeping bag, it's got to be a good one. So don't get too caught up on weight. You just want a nice, thick, warm sleeping bag. My next tip is in spring, try not to camp too near trees. The birds in the spring are deafening. As soon as that sun comes up in spring, literally hundreds, thousands of birds are making this deafening sound, which is, yeah, it's lovely if you're awake, but if you're trying to sleep, it's really going to put you off. So in spring, try and avoid camping in woodland and forest. Next up, when you pitch your tent, you want it perfectly horizontal. There's nothing worse than sleeping on a slope. I mean, I've tried it so many times. Me and my friends, you find a little pitch, you think, yeah, that's perfect. You pitch your tent and it's got a bit of a slope. Now, so many times we've just left it and then we've really struggled to sleep at night. So do spend some time finding that perfectly flat pitch. Next up is when you find that horizontal pitch, just have a look at the ground it's on. Now, if you can find a pitch with some really nice spongy grass, you're going to sleep so well. Makes such a big difference. You know, last thing you want is rocks in between your pitch or just really firm ground. So if you can find some nice spongy grass, do that. Next up is animals. Stay as far away from animals as possible. Now, from experience, and we've got this wrong a few times, we've ended up camping in a field which we didn't know had animals in there, and there's nothing worse than having like cows or sheep. You know, in the night you hear these sounds and it plays on your mind and you cannot sleep. You will not get back to sleep and you'll be paranoid. They're going to trample on you during the night, so stay away from animals. Next up, if it's a windy day, most tents have a more aerodynamic side to them, so make sure that faces the wind. It'll make an enormous difference, absolutely enormous difference. But certainly what you don't want is a nice tall flat side straight into the wind. It's going to batter that tent, it's going to flap around and you're not going to sleep. My next favourite camping tip is do not sleep near people. It sounds ridiculous, even if they're your friends. You know, some of them might snore, get up in the night to go for a pee. You know, you might, especially if there's young people around, you know, you just don't want people waking you up. So even if you're in a little group, try and get a little bit away from them and you'll have a really good night's sleep. Now the next one's a bit of a tricky one, and there aren't many products out there that do this, but if you can get a pillow that straps round your mat, and in fact some sleeping bags also have straps that will go round your sleeping mat, it will stop you sliding off during the night, because that's the only bad thing about camping gear. The bottom of your tent is usually super slippy and shiny, your camping mat is usually super slippy and shiny, and guess what, your sleeping bag is too. So if you can buy products that actually strap together, it will just mean you stay in one position all night and you won't get woke up during the night and you'll have a fantastic night's sleep. And my last one for you wild campers out there, we all know wild camping is strictly illegal outside of Scotland and Dartmoor. So you need to choose your location really carefully. Now in the Lake District and Snowdonia is quite often tolerated, you know, leave no trace, you know, as long as you behave yourself, you should be all right. But be careful where you're camping in other spots. You know, if you know you're in a place where you shouldn't be, it's going to mess with your mind and you're not going to sleep. So choose your spot really carefully. And if you do everything right, you'll have a clear conscience and you'll sleep really well. So I hope you like my camping hints and tips. I promise you, if you follow all these steps, you really will get a good night's sleep. And I'd love to know if you do in the comment sections below. But check out my other videos, got over 100 out there at the moment. Channel's growing really fast. So if you haven't before, take it easy and hope to see you camping soon. Cheers.